Hi again, everyone. I have another thought on Moment with God I wanted to share with you today. Do you ever feel weighed down, heavy burdened? I do. Do you ever feel like a lot in your life directly depends on you, and like the success of the outcome directly depends on you, and if you screw it up, everything is kind of over? That's a pretty natural feeling. I feel that way a lot, especially as a parent. That has become really evident to me. As a pastor, that comes up a lot, especially I end up feeling responsible for other people, which is really not my place, but it's a hard lesson to learn. And so I just wanted to share a spiritual exercise that I do that has become pretty foundational for my walk with the Lord the last couple of years. Last night I did it again during prayer with Jesus, and I was reminded of what started this whole thing for me a year or two ago. So I had a moment with God. I don't remember what it was I was feeling burdened about. There was someone in my life that I was just really struggling with how to deal with and how to feel about them. I don't even remember who it was, but so I was talking to God about this person and how I felt about it, and I imagined myself walking up this mountain next to God. And as I walk, it's getting harder and harder to walk. And I realize that's because I have this really heavy backpack on. And when I take it off and look at it, inside is this super heavy, like cannonball, dense metal ball that's been in my backpack. And it is like way too heavy to carry. And I look over to God and I'm just complaining to him, and man, this is heavy. It is too heavy for me. And then he looks over at me in my imagination, and God just offers to carry it for me. And he goes, "It's not too heavy for me," in that gentle way that God often speaks to me. It's kind of like how a parent and a kid are going somewhere, and the kid gets so easily tired and they're carrying like one small thing and it's too heavy for them after a few steps. And the parent is like, "Dude, that's like 2 pounds. That's not that hard." And they just stick it in their backpack. No big deal. We'll keep going. That's how it was. It's just like so obvious to me in this moment with the Lord that I was the little kid and God was big and really strong. And I could give this really heavy thing to him and it would like not even slow him down. Just like so not a big deal. That was a really sweet moment with the Lord. It was a great visual picture for me of what was happening in my walk with the Lord. Was these things were weighing me down because I thought it was my responsibility to carry them all the time. But I just was able to imagine myself handing that over to God and hearing what he had to say about them. Was like, I could carry that. It's not too heavy for me. And that it was going to be way more sustainable walking up this mountain if he carried all the heavy stuff and I just like focused on walking, right? So a few years ago, I took counseling pretty regularly for about a year. About every week or every other week, I went to the same person and we worked through a bunch of stuff. It was super helpful, and I have grown and learned a lot just from that. And one of the things that I took away from that year of counseling was that mental pictures are really useful for me to organize my thought life and then also my spiritual life. I just learned that there are tools in counseling practice that you can do, especially if you feel like your thoughts are overrunning you and that you're not in control of them, or dealing with stuff is just like you can't organize any of it. And so they often can recommend, like, let's assign a picture to this thing that you think about a lot, and then you can imagine yourself putting it away in a box, and then you can take it out when you choose. And it's a mindfulness practice that's just saying, like, look, you don't have to think about the same thing all the time. You're in control of when you think about things. And for people with anxiety, that could be really hard, and completely foreign concept, in fact. But that whole concept of, like, look, you can assign images to your thoughts and feelings in order to better feel in control of them was just absolutely life changing for me. And it really spilled over into my spiritual life, which I wasn't expecting but has totally happened. So now that moment that I had with the Lord has formed a sort of spiritual practice that I do with him frequently. So I tell God something that's heavy on my heart. I group it into a subject, or maybe there's multiple things like my child's happiness, or the success of a career, or another person's spiritual walk, or we need to find a better place to live, or whatever it is that's going on. And then I imagine those things as really heavy objects, a giant rock, a cannonball for me has really worked, a bowling ball, whatever. And then I take it out in my mind and say, God, is this mine to carry? What should I do with it if it's not? Maybe this isn't even worth thinking about or caring about, and I should just chuck this off the mountain ledge and we'll just go up the rest of the way without it and just be done with it. But often these are things that really do matter. Like last night this came up for me. I was talking to Jesus about things that were heavy on my heart. And one of the things has been my 3-year-old daughter's just happiness, especially socially. We've been really sequestered from other kids. There aren't a lot of neighbor kids her age, and we're just not able to go to her little daycare school that she had been going to, and I just really think it's starting to have a big effect on her. She's getting sick of only playing with mom all the time and I was just really feeling a heavy burden about that. Like, God, I feel like her whole happiness depends on me, and I just can't deal with that right now. And you know what the Lord said to me? I just thought he just looked over at me and said, don't you think I deeply care about that too? Like, this is a good thing to care about. You want your child to be happy and have friends to play with. Don't you think I care about that deeply too? And says, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, get out my cannonball. That's clearly been in my backpack, and hand that over to God. I just think this could be maybe something that you do as well. If you're feeling really heavy laden, sometimes it's physically on your shoulders that these emotional things have physical manifestations, or you really feel the pressure on your brain or heavy on your heart. And often those feelings for me physically will intensify while I'm praying. Like, oh, I kind of had some tightness in my neck. Oh man, it's really, really tight. I probably am having something that's weighing down on me. Lord, what is that? I ask him, show me what it is that's burdening me. Oh yeah, this thing's been on my mind all week. And then I just come to Jesus and say, what should I do with this? Chuck it off the ledge or put it in your backpack, because it is just too heavy for me to carry all the time. I can't do it. And I'm, of course, reminded of when Jesus said to his followers, come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. We all recognize that verse. But the rest comes from Jesus, not me fixing my problems, not me organizing it all or fixing or whatever, or just chucking it all over the ledge and saying, screw it, I don't care, I'll just run away. It's giving these heavy burdens to Jesus and accepting the rest that he has for us. So that's my encouragement for you today. If you're just feeling really burdened, that Jesus has rest for you. But sometimes the first step to accepting that rest is to give the thing that we're carrying that was really never ours to carry in the first place. Be blessed, my friends.